Every single morning, a shared experience unfolds in front of mirrors worldwide. The discovery of a new dark patch on the cheek, a cluster of brown spots on the back of the hands, or a subtle darkening along the neckline. These marks appear like uninvited guests, one today, another next week, until eventually you stop counting them altogether. If you have reached for expensive brightening creams, tried every viral home remedy, or finally consulted a professional only to be told, it is just an inevitable part of aging, I have something vital to tell you. That answer is fundamentally incomplete. My name is Dr. Victor Halston, and I am here to shift your entire perspective on your skin's health. These marks, clinically referred to as hyperpigmentation, are not a life sentence or an unavoidable tax on your years. Instead, they are sophisticated biological signals, a message from your body that specific internal mechanisms have slipped out of alignment. The truly encouraging news is that these processes can be corrected. You do not need invasive surgeries, painful laser treatments, or $200 serums to restore your skin's natural clarity. The most effective tools for this transformation are likely already sitting right in your kitchen. Before we dive into the deep science of why this happens, I want to invite you to join our community. Please support this mission by hitting the subscribe button and liking this video right now. Your engagement is the only way this channel can grow and continue to provide you with life-changing health insights that you won't find in a standard doctor's office. We must acknowledge a difficult reality. The modern healthcare landscape is often focused more on managing symptoms than resolving the root cause. It is an economic system built on repeat visits, not necessarily on your total wellness. What you are about to learn today is information that is rarely volunteered in a typical 10-minute appointment. So, let us move past the surface-level fixes and understand the physiological reality of what is truly happening beneath your skin. To truly understand how to reverse these marks, we must first look deep beneath the surface of your skin, to the microscopic level. Within the foundational layers of your dermis reside extraordinary, specialized cells known as melanocytes. You can think of these as the biological architects or the pigment factories of your complexion. Their primary mission, indeed their only mission, is the production of a natural substance called melanin. Melanin is the complex pigment that determines the unique shade of your skin, hair, and eyes. It is your body's custom-made coloring system designed to provide character and protection. When your internal biology is functioning in perfect harmony, as is typical during our younger years, these melanocytes operate with remarkable precision. They distribute melanin evenly across your skin's surface, resulting in a tone that appears consistent, vibrant, and clear. However, as time progresses and internal imbalances begin to take hold, these cells lose their natural rhythm. It is important to note that they don't just get old and stop working. Rather, they begin to behave erratically under pressure, under the influence of various internal stressors, which I will help you dissect in detail shortly. Some of these cells may become dormant, while others are triggered into a state of hyperactivity. These overstimulated melanocytes begin to flood a single, concentrated area with massive amounts of pigment. The visible result on the surface is what you see in the mirror: a dark patch, a sunspot, or a cluster of hyperpigmentation. The most critical takeaway is this: age itself is not what breaks your melanocytes. These cells are reacting to specific, identifiable physiological shifts happening inside you. This means that by addressing those internal shifts, we can actually encourage these cells to return to their normal, balanced state of operation. Now, let's pivot to a discovery that surprises almost everyone who walks into my clinic: the profound and direct connection between your liver health and those stubborn marks on your face. You might be wondering, what does a digestive organ have to do with the color of my skin? As Dr. Victor Halston, I can tell you that the answer lies in the liver's role as your body's most hardworking chemical processing plant. At this very moment, your liver is performing over 500 separate functions simultaneously. It is filtering your blood, neutralizing environmental toxins, processing fats, and storing essential vitamins. It is, quite literally, the primary filter of your entire system. The problem arises when this filter becomes overwhelmed. Every day, we are bombarded with substances that the liver must render harmless. Toxins from our food, the air we breathe, and the water we drink. When the liver becomes overloaded and cannot keep up with this constant influx, it doesn't just stop working. Instead, it begins to redistribute its workload to other elimination systems. One of those secondary systems is your skin. Your skin is far more than a protective layer. It is a fully functioning excretory organ. When the liver and kidneys are pushed beyond their capacity, the skin steps in to absorb part of that burden. As these incompletely neutralized substances pass through your skin tissue, they cause internal irritation. This irritation directly affects the melanocytes we discussed earlier, causing them to behave chaotically and dump pigment unevenly, particularly where the skin is thinnest, such as your face, hands, and neck. This is why topical creams often fail. As I often tell my patients, applying a cream to an age spot is like repainting the walls of an apartment while a pipe is leaking behind them. It is a temporary mask that doesn't fix the source. Furthermore, as we age, our liver naturally becomes less efficient. Research indicates that by the age of 75, blood flow through the liver can drop by 30%, and the organ itself can shrink by up to 40%. The good news is that the liver has an incredible capacity for regeneration if given the right support. To begin this internal repair, I recommend 3 simple, cost-effective habits. First, start your day with a glass of warm water, specifically around 98 degrees Fahrenheit to match your body temperature, with a fresh slice of lemon. This simple ritual stimulates the flow of bile, which is the digestive fluid produced by the liver that often thickens overnight. If you suffer from stomach sensitivity or ulcers, you can substitute the lemon with half a teaspoon of honey for a gentler effect. Second, introduce bitters into your diet, specifically dandelion root. Dandelion is a powerful medicinal plant that stimulates bile production and helps the liver process fats more effectively. You can brew a tea using 2 tablespoons of dried dandelion root per cup of boiling water, letting it steep for 20 minutes. Drinking just half a cup before a meal can provide significant support. Finally, you must eliminate trans fats, often listed as partially hydrogenated oils in processed snacks and margarines. These fats impose a heavy burden on your liver. Instead, replace them with a small amount of real butter, about half an ounce a day, which is far easier for your body to process. By supporting your liver, you are directly reducing the inflammatory load on your skin. While the liver acts as your body's primary filter, there is another organ system that plays an even more foundational role in the health of your skin, one that is rarely discussed in the context of age spots. I am referring to your gastrointestinal tract. In modern medicine, we are increasingly focused on what is known as the gut-skin axis. This is the direct biochemical communication line between the state of your intestines and the clarity of your complexion. As your doctor, I often tell my patients, if your internal ecosystem is in turmoil, your skin will inevitably reflect that chaos. To understand this, we must look at the microbiome, a vast, complex community of trillions of bacteria living within your gut. These microscopic residents are not just passive passengers. They are active managers of your health. They calibrate your immune system, synthesize essential vitamins, and, most importantly, regulate systemic inflammation. When your microbiome is healthy and diverse, these beneficial bacteria maintain the lining of your gut as a solid, secure barrier. In this state, only fully digested nutrients are allowed to pass into your bloodstream. However, when this delicate balance is disrupted due to poor diet, medications, or stress, this barrier begins to weaken. In clinical terms, we call this increased intestinal permeability, often referred to as leaky gut. When the gut wall becomes porous, fragments of bacteria and undigested food particles slip into your bloodstream. Your immune system identifies these as foreign invaders and triggers a state of chronic, low-grade inflammation. You won't feel a fever or sharp pain, but this invisible fire is constantly burning in the background. Returning to our earlier analogy, if the sun is the match, this internal inflammation is the fuel. You can stay out of the sun entirely, but if your gut is leaking, your melanocytes will stay in a state of high alert, continuing to produce uneven patches of pigment regardless of the weather. So, how do we restore this internal barrier? You do not need expensive designer probiotic capsules. Instead, I recommend 3 ancient, time-tested foods. First, homemade sauerkraut. This is simply fermented cabbage and salt. Unlike store-bought versions preserved in vinegar, traditionally fermented sauerkraut is teeming with live, beneficial bacteria. Just 2 to 3 tablespoons a day can fundamentally shift your gut health within a month. Second, plain kefir. Look for the simplest variety with a short shelf life, ideally 7 days or less, as this indicates a high concentration of live cultures. Drink a glass before bed, as the gut performs its most intensive repair work while you sleep. Finally, your bacteria need fuel to thrive, and their favorite food is fiber. Plain, slow-cooked oatmeal provides the perfect roughage to nourish your microbiome and keep the gut wall strong. Beyond food, your gut requires physical movement to function optimally. The rhythmic contractions of your intestines, known as peristalsis, can become sluggish if you spend much of your day sitting. To assist this, I recommend a simple daily abdominal massage. Lie on your back with your knees bent and place your palms on your stomach. Gently move your hands in a clockwise direction, specifically clockwise, as this follows the natural path of your large intestine. Perform 36 slow rotations with moderate pressure. This practice, rooted in centuries of traditional medicine and supported by modern research, improves motility and ensures that metabolic waste is cleared efficiently rather than being reabsorbed and irritating your skin. We now arrive at the third major factor: the sun. The vast majority of people are convinced that age spots are solely a sun problem, a belief often reinforced by standard cosmetic marketing. However, I must clarify that this is only a partial truth. To understand the relationship between your skin and the sun, think of the sun as a match. For a match to start a fire, it requires fuel. That fuel is the biological state of your internal body. If your internal systems are functioning in harmony, sunlight is not your enemy. But if there is internal dysfunction, spots can intensify even in the middle of winter on overcast days, without any meaningful direct exposure. When UV light reaches your skin, it penetrates deep enough to contact the melanocytes and issues a defensive signal. Melanin is your skin's natural shield against radiation. This is why your skin darkens. It is a normal, healthy, and protective response. But here is where the problem starts. When chronic inflammation already exists in your body because of an overburdened liver or a disrupted gut, your melanocytes are already in a state of persistent irritation. They are already functioning erratically. When UV light hits a cell that is already in that heightened state, the response is completely disproportionate. Instead of a mild, even tan, you get a concentrated surge of pigment dumped into a single spot. That is your age spot. It isn't because the sun is your enemy, it's because your body was not prepared internally for that encounter. The good news is that you can build your skin's resistance from the inside out using dietary antioxidants. These compounds act like an internal light filter, neutralizing free radicals, unstable molecules generated by UV exposure that would otherwise damage your cells. First, we have carrots. They are rich in beta-carotene, a compound that literally accumulates in your skin tissue. Meta-analyses confirm that regular consumption of beta-carotene-rich foods increases the skin's resistance to ultraviolet damage. A critical detail I must emphasize: beta-carotene is fat-soluble. You must eat your carrots with a source of fat, such as a pat of butter or cooked in oil. Without fat, The beta-carotene will pass through your system without being absorbed. Second, incorporate tomatoes, specifically when they are heat processed into a paste or stew. Cooking releases lycopene, one of the most potent natural antioxidants known. Clinical research demonstrates that 2 tablespoons of tomato paste daily significantly increases UV resistance. Third, drink strong, loose-leaf green tea. It contains high concentrations of catechins, which protect skin cells directly from free radical damage. While you should still use common sense and seek shade during peak hours between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m., these internal tools provide a layer of protection no cream can match. Continuing our journey into the internal factors that govern your skin's health, we must address a nutrient that is frequently celebrated for bone density but remains a silent hero for your complexion: vitamin D. As Dr. Victor Halston, I have observed a recurring pattern in my clinical practice. Patients who are so dedicated to avoiding the sun to prevent spots that they inadvertently create a severe deficiency. This is a critical mistake because vitamin D is not merely a vitamin. It functions more like a master hormone that regulates the entire life cycle of your skin cells. The data on this is quite alarming. Scientific research shows that a vast majority of people over the age of 60 are living with insufficient or even deficient levels of vitamin D. What makes this deficiency so dangerous is its invisibility. It doesn't manifest as sharp pain or a clear, locatable symptom. Instead, it operates quietly, much like rust corroding a metal structure from the inside. You often don't realize anything is wrong until the skin's regenerative capacity begins to falter. Vitamin D is essential for managing immune responses within the skin and plays a direct role in how melanocytes function. When your levels are low, your skin loses one of its most important internal regulators, making it significantly more susceptible to inflammation and the erratic pigment production that leads to age spots. The solution doesn't always have to involve expensive, high-dose supplements. Nature provides accessible ways to restore your levels. First, while we must be sensible about peak hours, 15 minutes of sunlight on your face and forearms is often sufficient for your body to synthesize its daily requirement. Second, look to your diet. Salted herring is a nutritional powerhouse. A single 100-gram portion contains approximately 1.5 times the daily recommended intake of vitamin D. Additionally, consuming 2 egg yolks daily can provide about 30% of your needs. Lastly, the traditional remedy of cod liver oil remains incredibly effective. Just 1 teaspoon a day provides a concentrated dose without the need for capsules. By prioritizing these simple sources, you are providing your skin with the biological tools necessary to maintain a clear and uniform tone. Now we come to the 5th and perhaps most powerful factor, which can sometimes outweigh all the dietary and environmental steps we have discussed. In my 15 years of clinical practice, I have seen patients who followed every nutritional protocol perfectly. They supported their liver, healed their gut, and optimized their vitamin D. Yet their spots remained, or even worse, new ones appeared. The missing piece was something that had nothing to do with what they were putting into their bodies, but rather what was happening in their minds: chronic, habitual stress. When you live in a state of constant worry or anxiety, your brain sends a continuous alarm signal to your adrenal glands, which sit atop your kidneys. These glands flood your bloodstream with stress hormones. While this fight or flight response was essential for survival in prehistoric times, your body cannot distinguish between a life-threatening predator and the modern stresses of bills, family worries, or a lack of sleep. This persistent hormonal flood drives skin deterioration in a very specific way. It triggers the production of a precursor protein called pro-opiomelanocortin. This is the raw material your body uses to create hormones that directly stimulate your melanocytes to produce more pigment. The solution is not to eliminate all stress, which is impossible, but to change how your body reacts to it. To counter this, I recommend the 4-7-8 breathing technique, which activates your parasympathetic nervous system the branch of your biology responsible for repair and recovery. Simply inhale through your nose for a count of 4, hold for 7, and exhale audibly through your mouth for a count of 8. Repeating this 4 times before bed lowers your heart rate and reduces circulating stress hormones, giving your skin the calm environment it needs to regenerate during deep sleep. While the primary work of clearing your skin happens internally, we can certainly accelerate the process with targeted external care. I must emphasize that topical treatments are a complement to, not a replacement for, the internal changes we've discussed. Before applying any remedy, you must respect your skin's natural barrier. For 3 full days, I want you to stop using all harsh soaps, cleansers, and scrubs. Use only warm water. This allows the protective lipid layer to rebuild so your skin can handle active ingredients without becoming inflamed. Once your barrier is restored, you can use this simple 3-ingredient mask from your kitchen. Mix 1 tablespoon of kefir for its natural lactic acid, half a teaspoon of honey to lock in moisture, and a tiny pinch of turmeric for its anti-inflammatory power. Apply this to your face, neck, and hands for 15 minutes, 3 evenings a week. Always apply in the evening, as these ingredients can make your skin temporarily more sensitive to the sun. To further support your skin, we must activate the lymphatic system, which is your body's waste clearance network. Unlike blood, lymph has no pump and relies entirely on muscle movement. Every morning, spend 30 seconds dropping softly onto your heels to create a vibration that moves stagnant fluid. Follow this with 30 seconds of rapid heel pulses while seated. Finally, perform a gentle facial massage, using your fingertips to stroke from the center of your face outward toward your ears, where the lymph nodes are located. These 5 minutes of movement ensure that metabolic waste is cleared away, allowing your skin to heal more effectively from within. To conclude this transformative journey, let us consolidate everything into a clear 4-week roadmap. During week 1, focus exclusively on internal preparation. Start your mornings with warm lemon water and support your liver with dandelion tea while removing all trans fats from your kitchen. In week 2, activate your entire system by introducing the antioxidant-rich diet, the 5-minute morning movement routine, and applying your 3-ingredient mask 3 evenings a week. By week 3, it is time to observe. You will likely notice the edges of your spots beginning to soften and your overall complexion becoming more vibrant. Week 4 and beyond are about consolidation, turning these practices into lifelong habits that support your body from the inside out. As Dr. Victor Halston, I must provide one final clinical note. While these natural strategies are powerful, if you notice any spots that change shape rapidly, have irregular borders, or look significantly different from others, please consult a professional dermatologist for a clinical evaluation. Thank you for trusting me with your health journey. If you found this information valuable, please subscribe to this channel and hit the like button to help us continue providing evidence-based insights that truly serve your well-being.